So looking at Industrial Revolution timelines, because I want to compare what happened with the first Industrial Revolution with what's happening today with the fourth Industrial Revolution. So the first Industrial Revolution was all based around steam power and mechanization. And in particular, it affected the fabric weaving industry. And I'll go into the impact of that in a moment. Whereas the fourth Industrial Revolution is characterized by the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and cyber effects. And you might notice that the timescales in between each revolution, the length of each revolution, are shortening with each industrial revolution. So looking at the first industrial revolution, which is based on steam power, this is a photograph which I like because it reflects really some of the key points that you can make about the first industrial revolution. And I've numbered this. Now, the first is pre-industrial revolution. Weaving was done in cottages, at homes, by people who developed the skill over their whole life. And they used a device, typically something called the spinning jenny. So people who'd spent their lives learning the trade would make cotton cloth in their own homes. It was a skilled trade and it was time consuming. Moving on, one of the next inventions was the jacquard loom, which effectively, although it's manually operated, was a big improvement over the spinning jenny. And so it allowed people to make fabrics a lot more quickly and a lot more cheaply. But it was still a human process. And then along came steam, and that's illustrated by the kettle boiling on the stove there. And with the invention of steam, then we got mechanization. So what was done on the jacquard loom manually began to be improved through the use of steam power, which made it a lot quicker and a lot more productive. And finally, one of the other impacts of the steam power and the Industrial Revolution is that children could do jobs that were previously done by adults. So what you saw were factories springing up all over, and children as young as 10 or 11 were being employed in these factories to do jobs that had previously been done by adults. And all of this led to a revolution, literally a revolution led by the chap that you see in the picture here, a chap called Ned Ludd. And he and all of the trades were professions that were affected by steam power and mechanization literally staged a revolt, and they started smashing the machines that were taking away their livelihood. And so the traditional craft industries had been decimated, and people who'd built their skills over a lifetime were being replaced by machines that could make goods faster and cheaper than humans. And this revolution, led by Ned Ludd, began destroying machines, and it led eventually the government taking action. People were imprisoned, and many people were also executed because they were protesting about the impact of technology on their lives. But on the positive side, steam power also led to the invention of the steam locomotive. And one of my heroes is the man on the picture here. Is called Thomas Cook. You might have heard of Thomas Cook, the travel egg company. You might have heard of Thomas Cook from the travel check point of view. But in the 1840s, he had a life-changing experience. I won't go into detail about it, but he was actually living in the same town in the 1840s where I later was living in the 1990s. And he saw steam power as an opportunity to transform the lives of ordinary people and to be able to take them to places that they could never have been to before. So he was a social entrepreneur. He wanted to broaden the horizons of ordinary people, and ironically, he saw it as a way of weaning people off alcohol. So steam power transformed Victorian society, and it accelerated developments in commerce and travel. And as a result, in the Victorian age, the wealth and prosperity of people and the quality of their lives transformed quite substantially as a result of this technology in steam power. And the factors that really were why the Industrial Revolution was a success. And these factors are based on an awareness of the benefits of the technology, how attractive that technology is, how affordable it is, and how accessible it is. And what Thomas Cook did was to address all of these points as far as travelling by steam train. He had posters, he promoted his excursions, which led also to excursions abroad. He made them as attractive as possible by painting pictures of how wonderful these places were that people could go to. He made it affordable for ordinary people. And with the development of railway stations all around the country and railway lines that spread across the UK in the 1840s like wildfire, all of this made the technology accessible. So that was the background to the first industrial revolution. And the success and speed of the adoption of any new technologies depends on all of these factors and whether or not it empowers us and gives us choice and control over our lives.